Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk, back with a very quick card for you that's a little bit of a fancy fold, and this is a latch fold card. So you look at it here, and actually there's a little latch here that just tucks behind that front flap to make a little bit of a fun closure for you, and it's using the gorgeous Hoppy Frogs that'll only be around with us for another few days. Get in there by the end of March 2019 and get this stamp set when you make your purchase of £45 or more. I've used the Tropical Escape Designer Series paper, and I've used that to kind of help select my colours. You'll see here it's got lovely tropical designs, the floral designs on one side using the darker greens, and then on the other side you've got lovely pinks and softer greens as well. So really useful paper to have in your stash, and it comes in a nice 6x6 size, so really great for lots of card makers, as it's a perfect size to be able to chop down. So let's get on with the card. We're going to start off by cutting and scoring our card base and our layers. So to start off with, you're going to need a piece of cardstock which is 4 inches wide by 8 3/4 inches. So hopefully you can just see that on the end there. And you're going to score the long edge at 5 3/4. I'm clunking a bit. There we go. And that's going to make our card base, as that's going to fold forward, you can see there. You're then going to need a piece of card that's 5 1/4 by 1 1/2 inches. So I'm just going to trim this to 1 1/2 inches, and this is why I keep all my scraps, because there's always a piece of card you can trim down. And I'm just going to take that to 5 1/4, and you're going to score that at 1 inch. That's just so that it gives plenty of stability on the edge of the card. I'm then going to cut my layers. And I actually just realised I made my original one in centimetres, so I'll very quickly translate my layers. So it's going to be 4 1/4 inches by 2 3/4. So let's cut our 2 3/4 by our 4 1/4. And then your next panel is going to be just a 2 1/2 by 4 inches. So that's our 4 inches, so we're just going to cut that to 2 1/2. That's our next layer down that you can see there. And then we just need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and that needs to be 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. So 3 3/4. I don't know, so 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. There you go. And that's already trimmed to the right size. Okay, and that's going to be our little panel to go on the front there. The other pieces of our layers for the latch fold, they're actually not going to be as long. So although this is 4 1/4, I'm actually going to cut them to 4 1/2, and I'm going to just do them in again 1/4 inch increments. So I'm going to cut a piece that's 1 1/4 inches. The next layer, why I say 4 1/2, and then I'm going to just take a scrap of shaded spruce and take that down to 1 inch. And you can see none of that at all. That was really useless of me, sorry. So let's take that down to 1 inch, and again that's by our 4 1/2 as well. So just to recap then, you're going to cut yourself a card base like so. We're then going to have our layers of card in Shaded Spruce, Granny Apple Green and Whisper White, and we're going to have our layers for our latch fold as well. Then the last piece that we need to do is to cut our DSP, and this is going to be cut at 4 inches because that's the height of the card. And then the first piece, this one here, is going to go on the front section, and that's going to be cut at 3 inches. And then the second piece just fits immediately behind it, so we get our nice little overlap like so. Okay. So now let's do our construction, and then we'll do our final bit of stamping. So this is as straightforward as just adding our layers onto our card. You could obviously use whatever glue you had handy. I'm using some snail, but obviously if you're new to card making, you might find that using liquid glue is good. The reason for that is because if I show you here now, when you add your glue onto the back of your DSP, and you only need a fine little bit, what that will give you is what we call a bit of wiggle room. So if you were to put it stuff too far over, then you've still got a bit of time to slide it across. So if you're new, that's always a useful tip. So we'll just put that to one side to dry, as I've used some wet glue. Layer up our layers for our card. So I've got my Tombow out now, I'll carry on using that. And I just pop that on there. There you go. Now for our latch, you're going to need to use our everyday label punch, and all you're going to do is feed that in from the one side, and there's a little slot, and you just feed it in, make sure it's nice and level, and I feed it till it's just, you see it pokes out at the side there, till it's nice and square, and then just press, and then do the same with both of your other pieces. Now with the other pieces, you'll obviously need to kind of eyeball when it's in the middle there. Don't do what I've just done, which is move it. So once it's done nice and straight, and do the same in the last little bit. Like so. That creates our 3 layers. And when you attach these to the front, you'll see there's an overhang. You're only going to be gluing up to where the score line is. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue just in the middle section of that score line and add my layer. Okay, so you can see I haven't got any glue on that bit there. And do the same with our Shaded Spruce. So again, I'm just going to put a little bit on the middle section there to make sure I've got some glue at the end, and just layer that up as well. And just pop that to one side. Now let's get on with our stamping. Now because we're going to be doing a little bit of watercolouring, we want to stamp using Memento ink. So I've already mounted my stamps onto my blocks, and all you need to do is pop your paper so that it is reasonably, oh, I'm all skew if aren't I, ink it well, tap tap tap, remember, and pop. And I'm putting my standing frog fairly far to the right. Again, tap 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 with our sitting frog, so see, make sure he's kind of on the ground. Same. Pop those to one side. And we're going to come in and I'm going to ink up, pop a bit of ink on one of my spare stamping blocks, just on the edge there. And all I'm doing is coming in with my aqua painter and creating a bit of a wash. So I don't want it too wet. I'm just going to come in and just paint over our nice little frog. Like so. And I'm going to now come in with some darker sort of elements. Pop his little spots, make his legs a little bit darker, sort of shade around his sort of tummy. Give him a little bit of dimension. I'm going to quickly just wipe that away with a tissue before I'm going to do the same with my shaded spruce. I keep wanting to call this Tranquil Tide, which will be leaving us very soon. If you want any of the current in colours, get them now while you can, particularly refills. They sell out really quickly. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe that off to the side. Oh, I haven't done my ground. Okay, I'll do that a different colour. So I'm going to do the tummy of this frog, the belly, a lighter shade. And then come in darker. And obviously take a little bit more care over it. I'm doing mine quite quickly because I'm videoing. I've gone silent. This is always a good sign in my classes. Everybody goes quiet when we're colouring. We all sort of sit there really quietly, a bit of focus. Good idea. They can be a rowdy bunch. Great fun though. We do have a lot of laughs with in class. And it's great. It's a nice, if you get the chance to get together with some fellow crafters, it is a lovely opportunity to share ideas and have some fun. And if you're local to me and would like to come along to my classes, just drop me a line. And likewise, if you want to, I'd have team meetings where we have a real sort of laugh. So I'm just going to pop some shading. I'm just going to take there you go, like so they don't look like they're kind of standing in midair. Okay, so there's our little panel. We're going to add that to the front of our card layers, and then you're going to need some dimensionals, and we're going to use double dimensionals on this. And I've just realised that what I've done is stuck. That was the other reason. I've stuck my DSP down without putting my latch fold in there. That was really stupid. So what I'm going to do is show you again. It's easy to rectify with this because actually it's Whisper White card, so we're not going to worry. All I'm going to do is pop that in the middle there and fold that around. And you'll see now why I said to leave those layers, because it's much easier to come in and trim those layers down so that they're perfect instead of coming in afterwards. Oh dear, it's been one of those days of videoing. Life has been a little bit busy. But hey, we all make, just shows, everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes in my crafting, I make mistakes in my class, but it really, it doesn't matter. You can always correct those mistakes and have a look. We really isn't a problem. Now what I'm doing now is I've turned it over, and on the left hand side I'm adding some mini dimensionals, and what I'm doing is I'm doubling those up, because what we need to do is create a space for our latch to go through. So all I'm doing is just adding a second dot on there. Once I've taken the backing off, obviously it won't stick otherwise. Once I've decided it's going to stick elsewhere, right? and by spacing them out, I've got a nice big gap then for my latch to go through. So fold it up with the latch and then layer that up like so. Come in with your snips. As I said, it's not perfect, but what you could always do is put a strip of DSP on the back there to cover up that mechanism. So what I should have done is attached it before I put my DSP in, but I was away with the fairies. And there you go, you've got a nice Latchfold card. And then if you wanted to add a sentiment, this is a sort of card that often I will leave as it is until just before I want to send it, because then you can just add a stamped and punched sentiment to the front, so that when you're ready to send, pop it on and you're ready to go. But it doesn't mean you've got cards sitting there ages waiting for the right occasion. You could easily add a happy birthday and all sorts of things. I thought this one was great as like an engagement card, you know, hoppy for you, happy for you, with the two frogs together. So there we go. There's a couple of quick Latchfold cards, complete with mistakes, but hey, I hope you've enjoyed it, and come back and see me again soon. Bye for now.